Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And that, I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there, and I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you could you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to recruit you, and our running back coach didn't take the pass. biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by MaX Sports. It's a beautiful Tuesday edition of the show. We're live, local, and ready to get things rolling. We'll add DC of the DC Capstone report to the conversation here in just a moment. I want to remind you that we do this each and every day, Monday through Friday. From 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. You can always interact with us. We love the interaction. That's why we named it the Martin Houston Show, the Sound of Bama Sports. Your show, your team. You can interact with us on the Alabama One hotline at 205-342-9904, or you can always join us on the live stream and interact with us there, Martin Houston 35 fan page. So we'd love to have you interact with us. We'll add your comments, your thoughts into the conversation. We'll have some thoughts from yesterday's show as Kennington Smith and I hit on a couple of these topics, and we'll get DC and Xavier's thoughts on these topics and get their perspective, which may be a little different than mine, but we'll work those into today's conversation. And hey, maybe you didn't get to get in on it yesterday, and you'd like to get in on it, but the question around, is college football broken? I guess it's college sports in general broken, kind of a theme that we'll probably be talking about throughout the off season, just because of the chaos, and I don't think it's finished. I think that coaches and schools are trying to make decisions around things, but with the trend of coaches jumping to the league and Alabama being one of those, when I say the league, talking about the NFL, the Shield, Alabama, of course, losing Grubbs and Huff to the Seattle Seahawks, or maybe the Seattle Seahawks almost lost them to us. Was it a done deal many moons ago, and Alabama just waited it out? And waited till the last day of the 30-day to announce that he was staying at home and taking Huff with him. Doesn't matter to me, whichever way it is what it is. But hey, is that a trend that's going to continue? And with the Super Bowl ending on Sunday, how many more college coaches may take that same jump, that same leap into the league, as others say they want to go coach football? They're tired of being fundraisers. They're tired of having to deal with kids who are wanting to transfer, having to re-recruit their own kids, recruit all year, etc. So, once again, theme is college football broken. We'll also get DC and X's thoughts on the Super Bowl. And I told X, don't bet against Mahomes. Just don't bet against him. It may be fixed, but don't bet against him. And then, of course, Bama hoops coming up. Coming off a big win. We got a big game Saturday, no midweek game, and then, time permitting, we'll talk some spring practice and portal and grades for DeBoer after his first 30 days. All of those conversations are on the table, but you may have something you'd like to get in on the conversation, so go ahead and bring it to us this morning by calling us on the Alabama One hotline, 205-342-9904. Or once again, joining us on the stream. We're streaming live on Martin Houston 35 fan page. So go ahead and jump in on the conversation. Remember this, trust in the Lord always. Lean not your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. And remember that you need to remember that this is a day that he has made. So let's rejoice, be glad in it. Take the time to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, and be the difference. Be the difference you want to see in the world today. Good morning, X. How you doing, sir?
Good morning, doing well. How are you?
Doing well. Good morning, DC. How you doing, sir?
Oh, good morning, Martin. Good morning, X. Doing great. Glad to be on this morning.
All right. Welcome into the show. It's like I said, lots of conversations we can get to this morning, but we'll start off with giving your thoughts really quick. 2 days removed, but your thoughts on just the Super Bowl and is the NFL fixed, DC?
Well, I don't know if it's fixed, but it's predictable. As I told my wife, sets up perfect for the ending the NFL wants. Mahomes is going to bring them back, and they're going to win. And it was like, how do you know that? I said, I don't know how I know that, but I have that feeling. I know it's about to happen. So
yeah, think about this: the 49ers got blown out in the first half of the first 2 games, and then came back in the second half. And I said, look at this. They got the lead in the first half, up 10-0. Mahomes has come back from every 10-0 lead he's ever had in this playoff history. So I don't know when, don't know where. But hey, listen, it's happening. So
you were exactly right.
You just kind of wait on it to happen. So, but no, seriously, fake scripted, whatever you want to call it. As you said, they got exactly what they wanted. The NFL bothers me because I hate feeling manipulated, and in the fact that they have thrown the Taylor Swift thing in my face so much. I could not believe that they did not show Mahomes' reaction after he threw the touchdown. They went up in the stands and showed her hugging her friend or whatever. Then they tried to go back and play Mahomes diving on the sideline like a little kid. But anyway, from that,
Yeah, Travis didn't even catch it.
Right, but they still showed her.
If Travis had called it, I'd have been like, "Oh, okay," but
yeah. But listen, I heard so many, and I get it, and I'm glad for all of the dads, the girl dads out there that said that because of Taylor Swift, they got to watch the Super Bowl with their daughters. I'm glad for them, but it was just too much. Anyway, I don't want to spend any more time on the NFL in that sense, DC. But but in terms of the NFL, I said this on my show yesterday. I posted it on Facebook, on my Facebook accounts. But listen, when the Boston College coach left and said to the world, I want to get your response when you hear this. He said, I am tired of fundraising, NIL, having to re-recruit my own players, having to recruit the portal. I'm gonna step down from being a head coach to go to the league so I can go to a league that's more about football. How damaging or what's your reaction when you hear that? If you're the college football power brokers, what do you do when you hear that someone has now compared and said that the NFL is more about football than the college game?
Well, I think first of all that coach said what a lot of other head coaches is thinking. He just happened to make the move and say it out loud. I just think it's the state of affairs that we're in college football, and I think that NCAA, the powers that be, the presidents, whatever, were not very forward thinking to see where this was going to lead, and they had a long time to think about it and come up with something, and it's just spiraled out out of control. So it's a state now that people are not desiring to be in, and some good people. And not only him, but you got a head. I understand a little bit jumping to the NFL, I guess, for that guy, a little bit. But what I can't wrap my head around is how come a head coach in the Power 5 Big Ten will move to offensive coordinator position. I mean, that makes no sense in my mind either. But when you hear him talk about it, he was tired of all the things he was having to do as well. So I mean, it's just the state of affairs we're in.
Yeah, and I guess the question is, how do you stop the bleeding? I mean, what is it going to take to stop the bleeding? I mean, it's to me, it's crazy. I want us to. I don't want us to rush that conversation, so we're going to go ahead and get Alan in. He has something about the Super Bowl. Then we'll flip to the other side, DC and X, so we can talk about it a little bit more. Alan, you're in with Martin and Xavier in DC. What's on your mind, sir?
Martin, Xavier, DC. I'm not going to let y'all talk about that Super Bowl like that. I'm not going to do it. Y'all are not going to talk about the MVP of the Super Bowl. Y'all will not talk about Taylor Swift like that. She's the MVP, and when she's going to Disney World, and I'm not have y'all talking about her like that. Y'all know she made what? I think they said $12.4 million. It was $12.4 million when they did that for her. I don't know if she got the money or advertising or what, but they said it was $12.4 million. How you figure that? I don't know.
Well, what they did was she probably posted that picture, okay, and then she gets paid as an advertiser,
as an influencer.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean,
and as far as the
y'all gonna love this. I spent halftime and the post game show in the same place, and I felt so relieved afterwards. No more Usher and no more Taylor Swift. And if you get my point, I spent it in the same place, Alan. I just leave it. I'll let you read between the lines. And I've been relieved. I felt so relieved afterwards. So,
I'm an Usher fan, so I'm gonna leave that one alone right there.
Hey,
but as far as Chip Kelly goes,
I'm not talking about you being an Usher fan or not. But once again, Usher was by the time it was over, Usher was out of breath and lip syncing.
Of course.
I mean, I'm like, I mean, they don't get paid for it, but it does great promotion for him. So I often say he got money, but they don't get paid for it. But anyway, Alan, I'm just having fun, man.
But as far as Chip Kelly goes, like I said yesterday, I honestly believe that if this thing goes left at Ohio State, he'll be in position to take that guy to be the head coach up there. And I believe that's the reason he went up there. Because, somebody maybe whispering in his ear, hey, if this goes wrong, hey, you're in a position you're in the prime position to take over. You just have a good year on offense. That's just my opinion. But what happens?
Wait, Alan, you think?
Go ahead, X.
You think Chip Kelly would be the head? You think Chip Kelly will be the head coach if Ryan Day gets fired?
If he has a good year on offense and he starts getting those offensive players in there, why not?
But I guess here's the question, though. Wouldn't Ryan, if you and I think that, wouldn't Ryan Day have that much sense, or did they tell Ryan Day to hire him? Make Ryan Day.
There you go. Hey, if Chip Kelly comes knock on that door, why not hire him? Who makes that decision? Of course, he's gonna say he made it.
I don't think so on that situation because I know the relationship that Chip Kelly and Ryan Day have. They have a great relationship, and Ryan Day was under him before, and protege, whatever for him. So I think it was a completely different situation, Alan. It may end up where you're talking, but I think it was a completely different situation. I think it was a situation where he was completely, utterly tired of being the head coach at UCLA because he could not find a way to compete at UCLA on the landscape of the way college football is today. And
I believe that. I mean, you got USC right across the street, so to speak, and that's where
UCLA could not compete in the NIL world where he was, and going into the Big Ten, he saw the writing on the wall what was going to happen to him. The UCLA chancellor said the same thing yesterday when they hired Deshaun Jackson, or whoever it was they hired, Deshaun Foster. He said we probably want somebody who wants to be at UCLA. Well, Chip Kelly, being a head coach, knew that he couldn't compete on the landscape where college football is today. And I think his relationship with Ryan Day was the only landing point. He that wasn't his only interview. He interviewed with 7 different teams, NFL and NCAA teams, for an offensive coordinator position. If that's not a cry, somebody wants to get out of head coaching, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you something
here, Alan, real quick.
If he gets fired, if he gets fired, do you think he'll get the head coaching job?
I don't.
I don't think so. I don't think he'd want it.
I don't think anybody on that staff survives if you can't win with the talent. If Ohio State doesn't win the national championship this year, they should just resign from playing football, because it's obviously. I mean, they have the talent to be. They have the talent to be the best team in a greater gap than Alabama ever had. Because they only
this year is win it all or bust. If they don't win the national championship, it is a failure. And so every coach on that team is a failure if they don't win the national championship. They've already set themselves up for that.
And I close with this, Alan. You have to think. You have to think. This would be like giving Alabama the SEC and saying Georgia, LSU, and Auburn and Tennessee, y'all all just don't play this year. Because Michigan lost. I don't care. I know what's name did a great job last year. This is his first time being a head coach at Michigan. So they're big. The one game they had to win each year is gone from there. Then they brought in 3 or 4 players from Alabama and other schools. So if they don't win it, I don't know what else. If you can't get it done this year, I don't know what you would expect that you could do to get it done. So I think they set themselves up for failure, and I think they will be a failure because it's more to it than just having talent and coaches. There's something called chemistry, and I think it's going to be hard for them to get there. Thanks, Alan. We'll be back on the other side. We'll get Pat in the conversation. We'll also talk a couple of things we got coming up regarding, this Alabama Huff and all of that links in with these coaches leaving. We'll talk about it right here on the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We're underway for this Tuesday morning drive, free and clear of any big accidents or breakdowns or heavy interstate backups to get on your way. 2059 from Foster's to Cottondale. The drive along Lurling Wallace coming down across the Hugh Thomas Bridge to Jack Warner Parkway. You're moving problem-free there as well. There's just not much on the board at this very early hour. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Ray Romero.
This report is sponsored by Jackson Hewitt. It matters who does your taxes.
Townsend Nissan is your #1 dealer, and they'll beat any written offer or pay you $1,000. Keeping you #1 keeps Townsend Nissan #1. See dealer for details.
Why are people saying Hugh yeah to Jackson Hewitt? When you switch to Jackson Hewitt, they will beat what you paid last year on tax prep, even if you filed online. Proof of prior year payment required when filing. New clients only at participating locations through April 7th. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
Hey guys, you're guaranteed to make them smile this Valentine's Day with one call to Stephanie's Flowers. They have roses, all kinds of floral arrangements, and fresh cut flowers, stuffed animals, and balloons. They make it easy. Call 345-3074. Tell them what you're looking for and they'll deliver it for you. You can also pick it up at Stephanie's Flowers at 514 Hargrove Road East in Tuscaloosa. Make her smile on Valentine's Day with one call to Stephanie's Flowers. 345-3074.
Don't miss your chance to win at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Open 24/7, so come on in for non-stop gaming action. You'll find the latest, hottest, most exciting games around. And you'll love the fun bonuses and big jackpots. Plus, you can watch and wager on horse and greyhound races from all over the world. Your best bet for big wins is just minutes away at Birmingham Racecourse Casino, where you can be a winner too. Birmingham Racecourse Casino off I-459, exit 31 Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older.
Hi, Hi, my name is Alani. A little thing I like about the Spicy Deluxe sandwich is that you taste the crunch, you taste the pepper jack cheese melting, and you taste the spicy flavors in the sandwich. I'm telling you, 10 out of 10.
Hi, my name's Enrique. A little thing I love about Chick-fil-A's Spicy Deluxe sandwich is you get that rich flavor of the chicken and definitely that nice, tangy, warm bite. It's the perfect harmony of spiciness and taste.
Order the Spicy Deluxe sandwich on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The weather cool and dry today with a sunny sky, the high 55. Clear tonight, the low 34. And we stay dry tomorrow and Thursday. The sky's sunny both days. The high tomorrow is 63, the high Thursday at 66 degrees. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 37 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Dave here. Hey, don't forget to support Billy's Cooking Restaurant. Billy's Cooking Restaurant located in Holt, Alabama, 3702 Alabama Avenue Northeast. Of course, that's Tuscaloosa, Alabama. We call the community Holt. Go over there right across from the old Holt High School. Open on Wednesday through Sunday at 11 a.m. They have some great food for you. Tomorrow will be Wing Wednesday, 50-cent wings. Then you have Fish Friday and Soul Food Sunday. And great options in between those days. That's Billy's Cooking Restaurant. Billy's Cooking LLC on Facebook. Go check out some great pictures and videos of what all he has to offer. And tell them that Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show told you to stop by. We got several callers lined up, DC and X, so we'll work to get them into the conversation. But it's crazy to think about DC and X. I want y'all to be thinking about this. Which one is Grubb is not shocking at all. It's disappointing, and I feel betrayed a little bit, or got a little bit of a bad pit in my stomach because I like I said, manipulation and lying and all that. I don't want to attack character based on this, but this was if this wasn't my school, I would call what happened with Grubb and this shady, but or questionable. But if they're gonna compete, because it wasn't a violation or anything, it wasn't cheating. It's just it makes me frustrated, DC and X, that people keep attacking these players. I'm telling you, I'm tired of people attacking the players for what they're doing. And so if you call up and attack a player, I'm probably going to call you out, just FYI. Because these players are only mimicking what the adults are showing them as a model of how to behave. That's why college football is broken. It's broken, in my opinion. I tried to be positive, DC, but it's broken from the top to the bottom. Top to the bottom. So anything real quick on that, DC and X, before we bring Pat in?
I understand exactly what you're saying. I agree with you, but this is the same thing that Coach Saban was talking about 5 years ago when he said, "Is this what we really want college football to become?" Yep. He was seeing so far ahead of it. People thought he meant right that in the middle about competition between teams. He was thinking so much further ahead than anybody thought he was, and sees exactly. We don't have somebody that kind of visionary in college football, not with the NCAA and not with any football team, not with any powers that be, that is able to see that and do something about it. And that's why, as Uncle Bud used to say, the cat's out of the bag, and it's hard to get him back in. And that's where we are. I don't know that it's repairable. So I agree with you.
I agree 100%. I mean, DC nailed it. This is something Coach Saban saw coming way before anybody else did, and it's the state of college football, and it's players mimicking coaches. It's coaches not wanting to do the 12-month grind, because in the NFL, as Bon Squirrel said it, you get an off season. You don't get an off season in college because of recruiting, especially not having to recruit your own roster each and every single year when that wasn't the case before.
it's not just that you're recruiting them all year. In the off season, you have to recruit them through the season. I mean, and you think about the Andy Reid thing with Kelsey, you know that's coming in college football because the college coach has no power now. You know that there's going to be some kid that bum rushes his coach. It's coming. It's coming. I'm telling you, it's coming because the players have all the juice. I mean, what is the coach going to say? When Mike Locksley says the third team running back wanting $100,000, or he going to transfer? Boy, that door, let the doorknob hit you. Where the good Lord, I've been like, bye. But can they afford that? Because the first and second team running back might be doing the same thing. That third string quarterback may be one decision, DC, from being the starter. So it is absolutely chaos. The question I have before we bring Pat in, one more question, DC, X, just kind of yes and no, and then we'll circle back on it. Are the power brokers like Sankey, and I forget the commissioner for the Big Ten, because I believe they're strong leaders, are they letting this happen so that they can make their power play? I've said they are. Those two are getting ready to take over college football, separate, and make all the leagues go back to what they were so the other sports can survive.
I think that's possible. I'd say yes.
X?
I would agree.
Yeah, I think they're waiting to make a power play. DC, you know, one of the greatest ways to get influence and leadership is to solve a problem. And if you can solve a problem, you have instant leadership and influence. If you solve a big problem, you have great influence. These boys don't know that when they didn't go to the 12-team playoff like Sankey wanted last year, did they play their own death bet? Who knows? It looks
and
like
the commissioner is Tony Petitti, and if you know anything about him, he comes from a Major League Baseball and a television background, not a football background, but he has the behind the scenes backroom negotiating skills to break away, and so and make football all on its own, which may be the only way to save the game.
I think it is
in the state that it's in.
And here's the big thing, DC. Last year, the Big Ten made a deal with the Pac-12 and the Big 12 because they were upset with the SEC for pulling off Texas and Oklahoma. Okay, but now the Pac-12 is gone. The Big Ten made a deal with them, then took all their teams.
Yeah, that alliance didn't last very long.
That alliance, they made an alliance with them and then took all their teams.
Yeah.
And then now there's four. And if you're the ACC and you now see that the Big Ten and the SEC have made a deal, are you going to just stand over there and go, okay, let's see what happens? No, if you're Clemson, Florida State, Miami, North Carolina, you're starting to go, hey, guys, bring us. Don't forget us.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's going to be a 64-team league or something like that. That's going to be all football, and it's going to whatever the new league is going to be. And I have another angle that a lawyer friend of mine told me that's going to happen as well. And I'm telling you, when I tell you that, it's going to all make more sense. I'll let you know what it is on the other side. Pat, real quick, what you got for us, man? Thanks for your patience.
Good morning, Martin. I wanted to talk a little bit about these whining coaches. Whining. Man, when you making, and they all need to kiss Coach Saban's right on his backside just rosy. But because of Coach Saban that they're making all this money. And even the ones down in the poor schools are making $1 million. Hey, and if you can't work all year long for $1 million and you can't put in 14, 16-hour days for $1 million and kiss my backside, because I'll take that job myself.
Pat, they are.
Be happy.
They are kissing your backside as they go to the league.
Yeah.
Well,
hey, Martin, there's only 30-something teams in that league. That makes maybe 60 positions for an assistant coach and a head coach. But I'm just telling you, there's not that many positions, and we'll be just fine, Martin. Y'all, the sky ain't falling yet. I mean, looks like the fat lady's tuning up. Come on.
I'll let DC respond, and then I'll go ahead, DC.
Well, I mean, I understand Pat's position there. My thought is not the sky's not falling at Alabama. I think the sky is getting ready to fall on entire college football if we don't do something to change the direction it's going. And it has nothing to do with just the coaches jumping. It has to do with everything that Coach Saban saw, like I said, 5 years ago. We hadn't had a visionary to be able to do that. So I don't know if with Sankey and Pettit can get that done with the SEC Big Ten, but it's possible. The only way I see fixing it is break away and make it its own league.
Yeah. Eric, you got anything before we get to break? Pat done said the whining coach need to shut up and take their money and go home.
I mean, here's the thing though, Pat. Like, these coaches still like to have lives outside of it, and now you're making it to where it's almost impossible to. And that's one we've talked about. That's one of the reasons why some coaches high-end coaches didn't want to come coach up under Coach Saban, because they could go make that money somewhere else and still have a life and still have family time and all of that. So, yeah, they are taking their money. And the best college coaches are going to be the coaches that you see going to the NFL. And that's where the dilemma lies.
Yep, and that's the key is college football broken enough that a guy like Kirby Smart would leave his alma mater and go to the Kansas City Chiefs? That's out there. MHS 0407 said most of these rule changes that were made or implemented by the NCAA was trying to make everyone competitive with Nick Saban and Alabama. It finally blew up in their face. ! I posted on Martin Houston 35 fan page. I asked the question simply this. Did Nick Saban in his retirement expose how broken college football was, or did he expand upon it? Because I don't think we're having the same type of offseason if Nick Saban is still coaching. And I know that sounds crazy, but did he expose it or did he expand it? We'll keep the conversation going right here on the Martin Houston Show. And don't let me forget, I'm going to tell you something that someone shared with me that now makes sense. And I think that the Big Ten and the SEC is going to be part of the solution with their new alliance.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Join the Tuscaloosa Heart Walk to make a difference in the fight against heart disease and stroke, the nation's #1 and #5 killers. The 2024 Tuscaloosa Heart Walk takes place on Saturday, March 2nd at Tuscaloosa's Government Plaza. Check-in begins at 8 and the walk starts at 9. The theme this year is I Walk to Save Lives. The event will feature a non-competitive 3-mile walk and a survivor's pathway. To register and to get more details, log on to TuscaloosaHeartWalk.org.
365 24/7. You'll find road and utility crews, tow truck, law enforcement, and first responders working along Alabama's roadway.
We're making improvements and helping our communities stay connected.
We're working hard to make sure you're safe on the road. Now we need your help to make sure we're safe too.
Alabama's move over law requires you to move over a lane when you see flashing lights on the roadside. And if you can't safely move over, please slow down.
Visit DriveSafeAlabama.org. Brought to you by the Alabama Department of Transportation, Alabama Broadcasters
Association and this state.
The ultimate sports betting app is now available in Alabama. BetU. BetU is the only legal sports betting app in Alabama where friends can bet real money on games directly against each other rather than against a typical sportsbook or bookie. BetU allows you to bet on spreads and money lines for NFL, college football and basketball, NBA, NHL, and MLB. All you need is a driver's license and bank account. Download BetU for iOS on the App Store today. Learn more about BetU by visiting their website, betu.us. That's bet.u.us.
A healthy weight, more energy, and smooth, regular bowel movements. 3 things everyone strives for.
It's me, Chuck Norris. There's one really important thing we don't talk about enough: our health. Achy joints, digestive issues, weight gain, and fatigue. We are told these are normal signs of aging. So working with a team of health experts, we came up with Morning Kick.
Morning Kick is a revolutionary formula combining 10 different supplements in one. Probiotics that help you lose weight, prebiotics for digestion, superfoods for muscles and joints, and several of the most powerful anti-aging supplements on earth. It'll help you feel youthful, energized, focused, and help manage stress.
Anybody can achieve great health regardless of their age.
Go to roundhouseprovisions.com. Use code SUPPORT or text SUPPORT to 511-511 and claim 40% off today.
Every purchase comes with our 90-day money-back guarantee.
Text SUPPORT to 511-511. Morning Kick. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
Everybody loves Taco Casa. Everything we do in our store, we prepare in our store. You know, we hand cut all of our tomatoes. We block and shred our own cheese here in the store. So we still hand cut our chips, our sopapillas, our taco shells, our chimalupa bowls. Our chili takes about 4 to 6 hours to make every single day. The goal in that is to provide the freshest, best quality to our customers. So we just look at it as, hey, basically, we're your kitchen. You're just coming to eat in your kitchen. Taco Casa, under the biggest cactus in town.
This report is sponsored by Jackson Hewitt. It matters who does your taxes.
It's time for the Martin Houston Show. With the same hard-hitting, no-nonsense approach in which he played the game, Martin will take you inside the locker room, down on the field, and across the goal line with his in-depth analysis.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. Hey, you heard that great Taco Casa promo there during the break. Don't forget to see Taco Casa quality, taste, and value under the now. Also want to remind you about Alabama One. Alabama One. Don't forget to kickstart your tax return there. You can open a new account with your tax return. Just identify, say, hey, this is my tax return check. I want to open a new account. Or you may just want to open a regular account. You may want to open just a regular account, and you can open that with the minimum of $25. If you do, you're going to be entered into our Deposit to Win contest. Monthly prize giveaway of a $250 value. Your choice of Beats by Dre, headphones, a 50-inch smart TV, or a $250 gift card. And then at the end of March, we're going to give away a grand prize value valued at $1,000. Your choice of a MacBook Air, set of tires, or a $1,000 gift card. And all you need to do is open a qualifying account with $25 or more. It can be a teen account. For your teenager, it could be a little one for your kids or any of our other club accounts. All you need to do is go to alabama1.org and you will get it taken care of, and we'll make sure that we give you an opportunity to be a winner. So, all right, DCX, man, I know what the solution is coming, and you're hearing it here first. But we got a couple calls we want to get to. Guys, I'm going to work you in pretty quick. So Joey has been on hold. Actually, he wanted to talk about, I think, something that you're going to see trickle down effect. Kelsey bumping Andy Reid in the Super Bowl. What you got for us, Joey? Is Joey still there? Hello. Going once, going twice.
I don't know if Martin, can you hear me?
Oh, wow. Maybe you guys.
We're working with Martin, guys. But X and DC, right. If you want to go ahead and take Joey's call, we can do that. Go ahead.
Okay. Hey, Joey, this is DC and the X on the line. Go ahead and
Yeah, I want to lighten up on something. I mean, there's so many topics to go to, but I think that I thought of something this morning that would be, I wish I could see, because I go back to Bear Bryant and say Don Shula, Gene Stallings. I'd like to see Kelsey or a player on the team come up and bump one of them like that. There's no discipline in football. I mentioned it earlier in the year when Jameis Winston scored that touchdown against the other team and against the orders from the coach. Coaches don't control the team. The players tell them, so what? But it's been that way since the players make more money than the coaches. The owners will get rid of a coach instead of a troublemaking cancer on a team. But Kelsey should have been hauled away out of the stadium, and I'll bet, like I said, I'd love to have seen Brian or Don Shula get bumped like that.
Yeah, I don't think that would have happened back in the day, but I think you also have not only got more people making more money than the coaches, they become celebrities themselves instead of just football players. But also, I mean, to give the other side of that, I think relationships have changed between coaches and players, especially Andy Reid. The way he does it is a little bit different than Bear Bryant or Don Shula. They're not unapproachable like they were. Later they didn't show it on the sideline, but later, Travis Kelce and him before the game ever got over, Andy Reid were hugging and everything was fine because of their relationship. But it's just a little different today.
You see, look different or not, that was 100%. That was not relationship thing. Everybody says that they have that relationship, and they do have a different relationship. But you watch the dynamics of that. I've seen them do this before. In other words, I've seen them have their moment where he's like, "Come on, Andy," and they're going back and forth. He physically hit him, physically bumped him. Andy went to grab his arm, and he jerked his arm away. Then another player comes in and pulls him away. That was different. I'm telling you now. Did Andy show the bigger man and all of that? But that what we're all assuming that's because of a relationship. What does a 12-year-old do and see? What does a 17-year-old see and do? That's just like me trying to say, hey, that's an athlete that has a different relationship with his coach. I think it's totally 100% inappropriate. He was wrong. Now, how Andy handles it, maybe that was enough that Andy's like, man, I'm through with this too. Maybe that's why Andy's going to retire. Hey, I got to get ready to get out of here, Joey. I got to get another call. What you got real quick? Oh, I thought all right. Let's quickly get to Chuck. Chuck, real quick, man. You're on the Alabama One hotline. What you got for us?
Yes, I was just chiming in. You were talking about Chip Kelly going to Ohio State. People have to realize that Chip Kelly coached Ryan Day at when they played at University of New Hampshire. They have that kind of relationship that goes back. And also, you were talking about the coaches. You were talking about what Nick Saban could see moving forward. Legendary Grambling coach Eddie Robinson saw it in 1984. He spoke before Congress. You can pull it up on YouTube. He was talking about what you could see in the future with college athletics. And look at where we are now. And that's why I said that's why you look seeing coaches retire like Nick Saban, and look at what things that happened with Woody Hayes and Frank Cushing when they were let go. That those things that those coaches could do, they can't do anymore. Like Cush did or Arizona State, all that brutal stuff that they used to do. They can't do those type things anymore. The way they used to run the team, like you said, Bear Bryant used to run it. But this is where we are now, and what you saw my Andy Reid and Travis Kelce it shows you this is what has happened.
Yeah, thanks, Chuck, for that. But we all saw this comment, and like I said, I think I do agree with you, DC, that there is a relationship difference a lot of times in coaches, but has it gone too far? I shared with the church that part of the reason I probably didn't transfer was because I would have had to go sit down in front of Coach Stallings and tell him that I didn't want to play for him anymore. I mean, I'm telling you.
I agree with that. My whole point of that was not talking about not really specifically their relationship, but I think the whole relationships in between coaches and players has changed. It's nothing like it was. There is no reverence fear of your coaching more like it was. It feel like you're on the same. They have believed, the players believe they're on the same level, and they're just as important as the coach. And I can run the coach off if I want to. I can cancel the coach, and if I get enough of them together. And I think that's where we are today as a society. Is reflects on our society more than anything else.
And I would agree with that 100%. That that the power has flipped. Coming back on the other side, guys, I want to get your thoughts on. I'm going to tell you what I think happened with college football or where it's at, and what I think is ultimately going to lead to a solution. And then we'll do some rapid fire, get you guys' thoughts on a couple of things. We'll be back on the other side right here on the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. We got DC Capstone report in the conversation.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We have picked up a stalled bus. This is on westbound 2059 at the I-359 interchange, but it appears to be out of the road. We aren't noting any major backups to the area. In fact, you're moving nicely through much of the region if you're traveling along McFarland Boulevard from Coker, passing up Lurling Wallace down to U of A and I-20 beyond. You're moving at posted speeds with no problems for the moment. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Ray Romero.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Fat Tuesday morning. The second week of the new legislative session gets underway today with a move by some to further reduce or do away with the state's grocery tax, which funds education. Last session, lawmakers passed legislation to gradually cut the state's 4% grocery tax by half. It dropped to 3% last year. The goal was to get it to 2% this year, but that has not happened. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather coverage throughout the day. It's absolutely free. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Weekday mornings at 6 a.m. The Martin Houston Show.
Join us for a Wednesday edition of the Martin Houston Show. It's a hump day edition. We're going to look at Wendell Hudson and Calvin Culliver as our black trailblazers in Alabama athletics. We'll also look at who has emerged as the top OC candidate under Coach DeBoer in his search. We'll also take a peek into baseball and Coach Vaughn rolling out a new tradition. We'll have those conversations and more right here on the Martin Houston Show, powered by MaX Sports on Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC.
Catch the Martin Houston Show from 6 to 7 weekday mornings on Tide 100.9.
Townsend Nissan is your number one dealer, and they'll beat any written offer or pay you $1,000. Keeping you number one keeps Townsend Nissan number one. See dealer for details.
Why are people saying "Hugh yeah" to Jackson Hewitt? When you switch to Jackson Hewitt, they will beat what you paid last year on tax prep, even if you filed online. Proof of prior year payment required when filing. New clients only at participating locations through April 7th. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
Hey guys, you're guaranteed to make them smile this Valentine's Day with one call to Stephanie's Flowers. They have roses, all kinds of floral arrangements, and fresh cut flowers, stuffed animals, and balloons. They make it easy. Call 345-3074. Tell them what you're looking for and they'll deliver it for you. You can also pick it up at Stephanie's Flowers at 514 Hargrove Road East in Tuscaloosa. Make her smile on Valentine's Day with one call to Stephanie's Flowers. 345-3074.
Hello, Alabama sports fans. Did you know that it's illegal to place a sports bet on the big game in our state? Right now, you can place a legal wager in 38 states, including Tennessee, Florida, and Mississippi. But Alabama fans are missing out. Only you can help make a change. Call your legislator now and tell them you want the right to vote to allow sports betting in Alabama. Contact your legislator today by visiting sportsbettingalliance.org. Paid for by Sports Betting Alliance. sportsbettingalliance.org.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Brakes? We can save you 15% on that. We have OE quality Duralast brake pads and rotors in stock, ready for pickup or delivery. We also have calipers, brake fluid, tools, and anything else you'll need to do the job right. When you get Duralast pads and rotors together, you'll save 15%. It's just part of what makes us America's #1 brakes destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. It's just not enough time in the day, not in an hour at least. I did figure out that I dislike somebody. When I say dislike, I don't have any emotional feelings one way or the other against Taylor Swift. But I did figure out that I want to see somebody get passed up more than I dislike seeing Taylor Swift. When I found myself pulling for the Chiefs because Mahomes was making his resume to be the GOAT. So I guess I'd rather see Taylor Swift at a football game than I would to see Tom Brady be the GOAT. I've always said I don't like him. I'm jealous of him. I mean, I know that. I recognize that it's haterade and I'm drinking, DC, but that's the reality of where I'm at. Really quick, DC, like I said, we don't have a lot of time, but I'm going to go ahead and put this out there in the atmosphere for it to know, for you to mull on a little bit. All of the NCAA trouble has happened because of what? Because they have come, they've lost all these antitrust laws. And our Constitution protects against that, protects us and the citizens and the employees against that. Right now, the NCAA and the way college football is played and college sports is played, there's only one choice, and that's the NCAA current structure. I believe you're going to see the two leagues, and I think the NCAA is going to come to the rescue of all of those teams that don't get brought into this new league by the college football world. And so players will now have a choice. Now, they may be choosing a school, they may be choosing a coach, but if they choose to go into this league formed by the Big Ten and the SEC, that's their choice. Or if they go over here to the NCAA, which may have another 60-something teams or 80, whatever number of teams, then that's their choice. But at least they have created choice, DC, and I believe that that's part of the solution that's going to happen because it's going to solve two problems. It's going to solve the chaos of college football, and you're going to have all the people competing over here in this NCAA-ran league that's going to have similar resources, and then you're going to have all the people over here under this whatever new league is, similar choices. And the key word there is they're going to have choices. Your thoughts, Mr. DC?
Yeah, most definitely. That's illegal. That's one of the legal terms that you always look for in an antitrust situation, is whether or not there was a choice. And the word is monopoly. So I think right now the NCAA has a monopoly on, and they tell people how they can participate. And that if you have a choice, that takes out that one canon that you have to prove that it's a. And I think that's definitely a way to get them in a better state, to get it back to where it needs to be.
And I think you can implement new rules as a new organization, and you can, in both of those would technically become virtually new organizations that have restructured. That's my thought.
And the next step would be collective bargaining. You'd have to have some kind of collective bargaining for the people. If you want to make rules within the choices, then you can have some kind of collective bargaining, which will do that.
Yep. And I think we're well on our way to seeing that. DC, what's your thoughts on Grubbs being out, Huff being out? Which one's the biggest loss?
Well, I'm not sure either one of them are a huge loss, and it's just because they've never coached down at Alabama yet. So my point on what I know from inside people that I've talked to is I don't think Grubbs was a surprise at all. I think, matter of fact, some of the players that he'd been told that he was going to take his shot at the NFL and wanting to stay in Washington. That's where he was. Huff never was loyal to DeBoer. He came to fancy his resume. So him jumping is not a shock to me because he was a Chris Peterson guy. He's a West Coast guy. They both got families that they have in Washington. And when the time came for them to be able to stay and not move to Alabama, I think Huff is just trying to look out for himself in his career. So I think the biggest one is Grubbs leaving the DeBoer tree, so to speak. But I think it's time he thinks to go off on his own. And when he didn't get the Washington job, I think it was always in the cards that if something came up in Seattle or on the West Coast, he would be for it. I think DeBoer knew that, and he's prepared for it.
X.
Yeah, it's a loss for sure, but I didn't see Grubbs being here past a year to begin with. I think if Bama had a decent season this year, 10 wins, 11 wins, whatever, that Grubbs was going to get a head coaching job at the collegiate level, maybe a chance at an OC job once again at the NFL level. So the fact that the Seattle job came open and I guarantee he was like, hey, I'm interested in it because I want to stay on the West Coast. That's where my family is from. That's where I want to be. So I think the interest was as much of Grubb being interested as it was Seattle being interested in him. And he gets to stay at home. And I'm not a fan of a couple of days before getting up in front of the boosters and going, hey, I'm the offensive coordinator here, knowing that he had probably already taken the job, was just waiting for that 30-day window to close.
Yeah, I feel a lot too, but I think Grubb is the least of the two losses because it's DeBoer's offense. I felt like Huff was an upgrade over what we had. If we get a good offensive line coach, then my concern over Huff goes away. But I think if you look at the two with DeBoer, Shepard, and Sheridan still on this staff offensively, I'm not worried about the play calling and the scheme. I still have worried, DC, over this offensive line. We have to get a good offensive line coach. Hadn't heard any candidates yet. Hopefully some break today. We've had some OC candidates break. Hopefully we'll find out more about who those are. We'll talk about who we think the lead candidate is. Maybe somebody internal, maybe somebody external. DC, closing thoughts and tell them where they can find you, sir.
Well, who would you want as an O-line coach? I think anybody that we get that's good might be an upgrade of what we had last year. So I think we have a good shot to do that.
Yeah, I don't have anybody in particular in mind from that position. So
I'd like to see Matt Luke come in from Clemson. He has a great understanding of recruiting in the South, a lot of ties to the South. I think he'd do a great O-line coach here, former head coach. Just add to the former head coaches on the staff. So I think Matt Luke Clemson will be a great choice.
Yeah. So hopefully they get better than what Clemson's been, and Clemson did improve throughout last year. Any other closing thoughts before we get out of here?
That's it. Good to be on the show this morning. Thank you so much for allowing me to be on each and every week. I don't ever get to thank you and X for allowing me to do this, but this is a pleasure for me to be on the show.
Pleasure to have you. That's DC Capstone Report. You can find him at dccapstonereport.com. Thanks to Karen Cottingham of KW Keller Williams for being a sponsor. We appreciate him each and every week. Hey, tomorrow, X, we're going to talk about Wyndon Hudson. I meant to get DC's thoughts on Calvin Culliver. He's going to be one of the trailblazers we highlight on tomorrow. Also, hey, Baseball Vaughn rolling out a new tradition. What is it? We'll talk about it on Wednesday. He's rolled out a new tradition I like at Alabama, and who has emerged as the leading candidate for OC. Those conversations plus the Harvest Church Christian Moment of the Week on tomorrow. Remember this. Trust in the Lord always. Lean not your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. Roll Tide out there for everybody. I'm Martin Houston. That's Xavier Houston. That was DC Capstone Report. And that's Justin Jones. We'll be back tomorrow to keep it rolling right here on your home for Alabama Sports. Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
We gon' celebrate and party with you. Come on now.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports.